All right, we're back. And we're talking phosphorus, the last of our biogeochemical cycles. Just to sum up, earlier we talked about the hydrologic cycle, which is the water cycle, carbon, nitrogen. We just got finished talking sulfur, and now we're finally here on to phosphorus. So what exactly is phosphorus? Well, phosphorus is a really vital nutrient because it's a component of some crucial macromolecules like DNA. Phosphorus is also important in ecosystems because it strongly affects net primary productivity. Okay, net primary productivity. Basically what net primary productivity is, it's a measure of all of the producers in an ecosystem. So it's that bottom level of your food web. So as your producers in a food web go, the health of your next level, your primary consumers, your secondary consumers, your tertiary consumers, as you continue to go up through a food web, the health of that food web overall really is determined by the health of those producers. So if you have a net primary productivity that is high, then that ecosystem and that food web in that ecosystem is going to be healthy. So how do organisms acquire phosphorus? Well, the main stores of phosphorus in the biosphere are found in Earth's crust, okay? So down here in Earth's crust. With weathering, like I said before, it's the breakdown of rock material. Rocks release phosphorus in the form of phosphate. Okay? So we've got phosphates here. We've got phosphates here. Notice we've got phosphates all through this cycle. Okay? The phosphate enters the soil where plants then take it in through their roots. When animals eat plants, so again, here's our little bunnies and our fox down here. They incorporate the plant's phosphorus into their own bodies. So when plants and animals and other organisms die or they release wastes, okay, phosphorus then becomes available to decomposers like fungi and bacteria. The decomposers break down the tissues and they release phosphate into the soil where plants can take it up again. Okay, so what we've got here is decomposition here, then winds up releasing phosphates back into the soil. In the ocean, phosphorus enters the marine food chain. Okay, so here we're dealing with ocean food webs right here. A single phosphorus atom might cycle between the water and bodies of organisms for an average of 100,000 years before it finally falls down here to the ocean bottom as deep ocean sediment, okay, which then can form new rock. Phosphorus can remain trapped in sediment for 100 million years or even greater. Unlike the elements in carbon, sulfur, and the nitrogen cycles, phosphorus doesn't cycle through the atmosphere. Okay, that's the major difference here with the phosphorus cycle as opposed to the other four that we talked about before. Phosphorus does not cycle through the atmosphere. Okay? Instead, it's a sedimentary cycle. Phosphorus in the ocean sediments remains there until it's removed by weathering or geologic uplift, okay, or by mining, all right, where then the cycle can continue. So when we're dealing with something like this and sedimentary nutrients, they're going to cycle really, really slowly because they're not easily replaced once they're lost from an ecosystem. So how have humans changed this phosphorus cycle? Well, they've changed it through activities like mining and through fertilizing, okay? Fertilizers contain lots and lots of phosphorus, which enters the environment, okay? Sewage treatment plants, all right? So we've got sewage here. We have mining wastes, okay? We've got fertilizers. All of these things add extra phosphorus to the land, to rivers, to lakes, to oceans. Okay? Sewage treatment specifically will add those phosphates into rivers, lakes, and oceans. Extra phosphorus can put some organisms like algae at a growth advantage. And then therefore they upset the balance of organisms in an ecosystem. And last time, a couple of times ago, we talked about eutrophication, where we talked about too many nutrients in an aquatic ecosystem. Well, the same thing can happen here with phosphates. Okay? Most of your fertilizers that you buy contain two things to help plants grow. And those two things are nitrates and phosphates. So as we see here, we see that you've got normal phosphates in rock, okay, and fossil bones. You got it here normally in ocean sediments because erosion has taken place. This right here, the blue arrows, here we're dealing with natural processes. Okay, we talk about natural capital and natural services. Natural services are these natural processes that help to cycle nutrients through our system. So the blue represents these natural processes. The red, however, is where humans are intervening. So we've got fertilizer being added to cropland. Okay, that increases the phosphates that are present. You have sewage treatment, and that sewage treatment runs off into water systems. Okay, that's humans adding phosphates to that system. Okay, you've got mining that's going on, and you have waste from that mining. Well, that runs off into water systems again, adding more phosphates to the system. So some of the main things to remember about this cycle, again, it's not atmospheric, it's sedimentary. It takes place on and in the earth. All right? Secondly, this one, I feel like, along with the nitrogen cycle, is probably most disrupted by human activities. Okay, we can talk carbon and we can talk about burning carbon and adding CO2 and other greenhouse gases to the atmosphere. But these two, phosphorus and nitrogen, by the addition of nitrates and phosphates into the system, really wind up affecting net primary productivity. That's all I have for you today. Have a good night.